Hello lovely people, it's Sundar from Substance Over Style and welcome to a new video. I'm coming at you from the stunning county of Springfield, Virginia, very close to Washington DC. I've just been travelling up and down the states at the moment. I was in New York last week, which was really crazy, hectic, and I'm just staying with some family just outside of Washington DC at the moment, and they have the most beautiful idyllic house with this lovely garden filled with birds and butterflies. So I thought it was a perfect place to record a video for you. I've just been researching this topic for a while, and I wanted to record a video, but then it's also been semi-requested from a viewer called Random Crap. I think that's your screen name. What did you say? Yeah, so Random Crap asked, Sandal, could you please make a video about the interplay and balance between yin and yang energy and its significance to health? Merci beaucoup. Yeah, so at that time I was kind of wanting to do a video about balancing masculine and feminine energies, specifically awakening the sacred masculine and the sacred feminine in particular. Just because I was just going through a process in the last few weeks before I left London where I was connecting with my own sacred feminine. I've always been quite connected to my divine masculine, but sacred feminine is something that's always been a little bit more difficult for me, as it has with everybody, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but historically on the planet, in our current civilization, the sacred feminine has been suppressed. And is being suppressed, but we're currently going through a great sacred feminine or divine feminine, I'll use those two terms interchangeably, awakening at the moment. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and how we can all be part of this shift. I'm not going to talk about it specifically in this video to do with personal individual health, more collective health, you know, to do with the entire human species and our home Gaia, because, you know, if the planet is out of balance, which it currently is because of the suppression of the divine feminine, that will create dis-ease in the planet, and then that will also, obviously, because we are part of Gaia, that will be reflected in our own bodies. We will see dis-ease as well, unless we actively work to heal ourselves. Okay, so firstly I wanted to, sorry, I'm just going to be like looking at my notes over here. I've got my laptop there and got my tea as well. If anybody wants to know what I'm drinking this amazing concoction, a detox tea that my mum makes. I have no idea what's in it, but if you're interested, leave me a comment below and I'll ask her for the recipe. She just sends it out to everyone in our family, so our family here has got some in the drawer, so yeah, it reminds me of being back at home with my mum. Okay, so what is sacred feminine? Okay, the primary principle of sacred feminine is the principle of care. This is also known as the generative principle, because it is from this that which all life generates, the creative principle. That is how, you know, women are the life givers, the creative force. They create life through the principle of care. The feminine energy is about being a healer, a teacher, a nurturer, a life giver. Sacred masculine is the primary principle is that of courage. So divine masculine principles are those of the protector, the defender, the supporter. Now, when I talk about sacred feminine and sacred masculine, or divine, or masculine, divine feminine, or just masculine and feminine qualities, I'm not talking about men or women. I'm talking about certain qualities, because the world that we live in is a world of polarity. So, you know, in source energy, everything is one. There is no polarity of gender. We're all one. But in this third dimensional density, there is polarity of masculine and feminine. And we come to experience that in different bodies which embody different aspects of masculine and feminine. So it's up to each individual to choose which characteristics of masculine and feminine they want to, and this is witnessed in kind of two-spirit individuals, which that's a Native American term, but we would refer to them as transgender, maybe non-binary transgender individuals who embody both masculine and feminine energy. But each one of us individually will embody both aspects, but it's about balancing both of those within ourselves in order to be more harmonious. Sorry, I'm just pulling up my notes. Okay, so when we talk about suppression of the sacred feminine, I'm not referring to suppression of women by men. This is a debate that, feminists and the alt-right will get into, and they can literally argue about it till the cows come home. Oh, men are not suppressing women, some women suppress men. Yes, that's true, some women suppress men. What we are currently seeing on the planet is suppression of feminine by the masculine, but definitely not by divine masculine, because divine masculine and divine feminine cannot exist without each other. They have to be in perfect balance, like a yin and yang. They need each other. They rely on each other. Suppression of sacred feminine in everyone is basically suppressing the feminine principle of care. So equating care as somehow being weak or being a pussy or emotional, for example. The feminine aspect of being connected to your emotions is actually its greatest strength. Your emotions are your moral compass. They are your intuition. They are the source of your wisdom. And in ancient civilizations where they had like goddess worship, the goddesses were revered because they were seen as the holders of the wisdom, because of their intuition, because of their connection to their emotions. They had that connection to that divine source energy, the Akashic records, because their emotions would give them that gut feeling and that intuition. So by suppressing the divine feminine, we have got a species that is unable to care about one another, unable to care about oppression, unable to care about what's happening to their fellow man, woman, child, animal, the planet, and a world that has been very, very founded on masculine principles, which creates imbalance. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with masculine principles, but when they're out of balance, then you see the problems that we're having in the world today. Suppression of the sacred feminine principle of care is also witnessed, for example, when men will, when they're in their peer group, if, for example, their peers are saying something sexist or otherwise oppressive towards a marginalized group, but particularly suppressing the feminine, so making lewd comments about women, making homophobic comments. Suppression of the feminine is also the root of homophobia, transphobia, and every time a man suppresses his own moral compass and doesn't stand up to his peers, he's suppressing not just his divine masculine, the principle of courage, but he's also suppressing his divine feminine, the principle of care, because he sees that as being weak, or he'll be told that he's being weak or being a pussy. And if you guys want to know more about this, I really recommend you read a book by Jackson Katz called The Macho Paradox. Jackson Katz is a really influential feminist and anti-violence educator. He talks about this from not from a metaphysical perspective, but from a very real world perspective, what men can actually do in the world to connect with what I would refer to, what we are referring to in this video as their sacred masculine and sacred feminine qualities in harmony, but just basically be a real man, stand up against those who are oppressing others. So that's a really good book. Okay, so also seen another example of suppression of the sacred feminine is the role of mothers in particular, but also teachers, healers, nurses. I mean, Doctors, yes, you know, they do get paid quite well in our society, but most of the doctors in Western medicine, I mean, I'm not talking about surgeons and GPs and stuff like that, but, you know, we all know about big pharma and kind of why there's so much money in that. But, you know, when you're talking about like proper healers, like naturopaths and, you know, all sorts of energy healers and stuff like that, that is definitely being suppressed. Teachers are very poorly paid in our society. Mothers are completely unpaid servants, and even women have bought into this as well. It's seen as something, you know, to use the term, a woman's place is in the home, is seen as something extremely denigrating, when it should be anything but. Like, that should be something that is revered, to raise a child and to bring up a human, a productive member of society, to be a teacher and a healer, and, you know, all those roles that motherhood encompasses, have been massively denigrated by our society, in that the only way, it's perceived that the only way for a woman to succeed is by adopting masculine principles. The idea that men and women are the same, and women are equal to men because they can do everything that a man can do. What about the stuff that we can do that men can't do? And I'm not just talking about giving birth. I'm talking about all those other beautiful sacred feminine qualities that, you know, we have, and that we only need to get in touch with to step into our true power. We need to kind of get in touch with that and stop taking, you know, the idea that we are feminine, stop buying into the idea that that's somehow weak or somehow something that we need to fight against. Okay, so what are the results of suppression of feminine? Okay, well, you only need to look around you and see what's happening on the planet. We have lost the ability to care, because we are too busy surviving. We're hustling, we're enslaved, we are out there in the world, you know, trying to pay our taxes, keep a roof over our head. You know, people who are engaged in, you know, the sacred role of motherhood are having to also go out into the workplace and pay taxes to govern minds and, you know, all that sort of bullshit. And we're literally seeing a planet on the edge of collapse because we're completely out of balance. We're raping the planet for all it's worth, because of an infinite growth model that uses taxes to enslave us. So, yeah, there's some very real consequences of suppression of the sacred feminine. And it's only when women in particular, but everyone steps into their sacred feminine power and actually starts caring about these things, and then embodying divine masculine, having the courage to stand up and defend and protect and support the sacred feminine in nurturing and teaching and healing this planet, then we're going to see a change. So, you know, how can we bring ourselves back in balance? Bringing ourselves back in balance is extremely important, because it's the only way that we're actually going to bring the entire planet back into balance, because we live in a holographic universe, and by changing ourselves, we change the whole. We need to firstly connect with our emotions. And if you're a woman, particularly, you need to connect with your anger, because our anger has been heavily suppressed. It's not been suppressed in men, and that's obviously now why we're seeing so many problems with toxic masculinity, because it's often the only emotion that men feel comfortable expressing. But women in particular need to connect more healthily with their anger, because it's a useful emotion, and there has been so much in the New Age and the spiritual community that has been trying to suppress our anger and other negative emotions, and this is the suppression of the divine masculine, and it's New Age bullshit. Do not buy it. Your anger and your fear are both very useful emotions. Your full spectrum of emotions are your moral compass. They are your intuition. They will tell you when somebody is violating your rights, or when they are oppressing you or others. When you are fearful, that is your intuition speaking. Connect with that. Don't believe this bullshit about, oh, it lowers your vibration, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, a fear is a low vibrational emotion. You shouldn't get stuck there. But when you're feeling it, honor that feeling. You need to connect to that. It's telling you something. Don't suppress it, because suppression of your shadow self, creates low self-esteem, self-hatred, and women are amazing at self-hatred and low self-esteem. I mean, men are also, you know, socially conditioned men are also good at self-hatred, but yeah, that's one way that we can start to connect with our sacred masculine and feminine. Now, the sacred masculine must support and defend and protect the sacred feminine. So when you are connecting to those feelings, if somebody tries to shame you for your emotions, tells you you're being over emotional, tells you you're being angry, or tells you, oh, don't be afraid, it lowers your vibration, as you'll probably hear a lot in the spiritual community, you need to not be afraid to defend yourself, to protect others, to support others who are doing this work. Other ways to connect with your sacred feminine are, obviously sacred feminine is a lot about creativity. So it's going to be the feminine that is going to create and manifest and give birth to the new world, the new earth, the, you know, fifth dimensional, you know, planet that we're now moving into. So you need to connect with your creativity, whatever it is, you know, like creativity, whether it's art or music or dance or even sport is, you know, very creative. I just went hiking with my cousin up to Old Rag Mountain, and we were like scrambling up these, you know, massive boulders. And even that, I was thinking, you know, you have to be quite creative with, you know, where you put your hands and your feet, and, you know, every path is different. You can't just copy what the person in front of you is doing, because they have a different body, so they're not going to fit into the same gaps. They're not going to be able to reach the same, you know, handholds as you. So you have to get creative, and you have to do what you love. You have to express, you know, things as you see it. So, you know, whatever your form of creativity is, you know, just go out there, get out there, you know, start creating events, spaces for people to come together and express themselves through poetry or song or music. Don't worry about being good at it or not. Just do it. You know, you'll find what you love by doing it and eliminating what doesn't work. I mean, I studied architecture at university, and the one thing that I learned and that I continue to come back to is this idea that when you're designing a building, you have to eliminate all the possibilities that don't work before you get at the perfect scheme. So you have to draw different ideas just to say, okay, no, that doesn't work like that. Let me try it there. Let me try it there. So just get out there and do stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to be crap at stuff. Just, you know, get out there and do it. My laptop is frozen, so I don't know what else I was going to say about rebalancing masculine and feminine. I was going to say something and it was really good. Oh, here it is. Yeah. Other ways to connect with your sacred feminine are to get out into nature. I mean, today I've just had the most blissful day, just doing yoga in the garden and just chilling. Like, I could go out, I could go into town and go and see some museums and stuff like that, but you know what? That's not what I want to do. Just connect with what you love doing, and, you know, spend time with your loved ones, with children, with animals, you know. Take time to nurture that aspect of yourself, because it's beautiful and it's so powerful. I want to do another video as well about feminine sexual energy and how that can be harnessed for creativity, and just suppression of female sexuality in general. So if you want to see that video, give me a thumbs up. Yeah, leave me a comment in the comment box below. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions, any responses, any questions that you have. I love hearing from you guys. Give me ideas for other videos, what you want to see. And I'm going to enjoy the rest of the afternoon in this beautiful garden. And I hope you all have a blessed day wherever you are. I love you all so much, and thank you for watching. Bye-bye. See you in the next video.